Salvete omnes. This is Abbey Latin Liber Primus, Chapter 6. This is a video lesson on the morphology of Latin's present tense, imperfect tense, and future tense. Let's review the parts of speech. There are 8. They are the noun, the pronoun, adjective, verb, adverb, preposition, conjunction, and interjection. In Latin, the nomen, pronomen, adjectivum, verbum, adverbium, praepositio, conjunctio, and interjectio. And this lesson will focus, like Chapter 3, on the verbum, the Latin word for word. So the verbum is an action word. Verbs are action words. This is a review of Chapter 3. Verbs have person, number, and tense. Person indicates who is doing the action, either first, second, or third. Number indicates how many of those first, second, and third persons there are, either singular or plural. Latin does not have a dual, things that come in twos. Instead, we have singular, one, plural, more than one. And then tense shows time, when the action takes place, and you already know about the present tense. So person and number in English are shown by a subject pronoun. So the first person singular subject pronoun is I. So I am doing the action. For second person singular, that would be you or thou. You are doing the action. For third person singular, he, she, or it does the action. For first person plural, unlike the first person singular, where I singularly are doing the action, first person plural, it's I plus someone else. We are doing the action. And then second person plural, you or ye are doing the action. And third person plural, more than one, he, she, or it's, they are doing the action. So to conjugate, that means to change or morph this verb in English's present tense. Here's a step-by-step process. So to conjugate the verb to love in the present tense, you first need to know the verb's principal parts. And so go ahead and say the following sentences. I want to verb, I verbed, and I have verbed. And then in place of verb, go ahead and put the verb you want. So to love. So first one, I want to love. Second, I loved. Third, I have loved. And that gets you the principal parts, love, loved, and loved. I want to love. I loved, the past tense. I have loved. And that's the participle form, the past participle. So you need to know the verb's principal parts, love, loved, and loved. But we're only going to work with the first one for the present tense. So you take the first principal part, that's the present indicative, that's love. All you got to do is put the correct subject pronoun in front of it. I, you, he, she, it, we, he, or they. Just remember to add the S to the third person singular, so you get loves. So I love, you love, he, she, it loves, we love, ye love, and they love. Remember that this could also stand in for I am loving and I do love. But basically, I love, you love, he, she, it loves, we love, ye love, and they love. Only adding an S to the third person singular. For Latin, the person and number are included in the verb's ending. Latin really doesn't use the subject pronoun, especially in the nominative, very much unless you show emphasis. Instead, that information will be contained in the verb's ending, which we call personal ending because they show person, the first, second, or third, and how many, singular and plural. So the ending will tell you that information. If the verb ends in O, sometimes an M, or an O or an M, first person singular, that's I. I am doing the action. If the verb ends in S, that's second person singular, you are doing the action. If the verb ends in T, third person singular, he, she, it, a nominative singular is doing the action. And then first person plural is mus, second person plural is tis, and third person plural is unt. So we have OST, mus, tis, unt. OST, mus, tis, unt. So, for conjugating Latin's present tense, you first need to know the principal parts of Latin verbs. So you need to know all four principal parts. Latin verbs typically have four principal parts like amo, amare, amavi, amatus. They are named the present indicative, the present infinitive, the past indicative, and the supine, also called the perfect passive participle. So if those principal parts, if a verb's principal parts end in o, are, I, and us, o, are, I, and us, then that verb is a first conjugation verb. That's a first conjugation verb. That's important to note. First conjugation verb. O, are, I, us. All right, how to conjugate a Latin first conjugation verb in the present tense. First, you must know the verb's principal parts, like amo, amare, amavi, amatus. For the present tense, you take that verb's first principal part, that is the present indicative, so amo. This is the verb's first person singular, so write it down unchanged. That's his only job. So amo, amare, amavi, amatus. Amo, write that down, first person singular. Notice the O personal ending. That tells you that I, first person singular, I am doing the action. I love, amo. For the rest of the forms, you find the verb's present stem. Go to the second principal part and chop off the RE. What's left? Ama. That is the verb's present stem. You write that present stem in the rest of the blanks. So we have ama for the second, third, and then first person plural. Then we add the personal endings. We already have the O. Then you add the S, T, mus, tis, und. Amo, amas, amat, amamus, amatis, amat, amant. So amo is I love. Amas is you love. Amat is he, she, or it loves. Amamus is we love. Amatis is ye love. And amant is they love. Remember that Latin lacks progressive and emphatic forms of the present tense. So amo can also mean, besides I love, I am loving. The progressive form, I am loving, or the emphatic, I do love. Remember that amas could also mean, besides you love, you are loving, you do love. And amat could mean, besides he, she, or it loves, he, she, or it is loving, he, she, or it does love. Remember that Latin lacks those alternate progressive and emphatic translations or forms of the future tense that English has. So all of these tenses really have three different translations. They're all present tense. Pick which one context tells you is the best or easiest translation. Which one sounds the best? So moving on to the imperfect tense. The imperfect tense is a past tense. Don't call it the past tense though, because Latin has three past tenses. You'll need to identify which one you're talking about. This is the imperfect, which is Latin for unperfect, completed. It's uncompleted, it's incomplete, it's not completed. This tense is a past tense showing an action that was not completed in the past. It was a continuous, habitual action. It was or were happening in the past. So first you need to know the verb's principal parts. So we're starting in English. I want to love, I loved, I have loved. So love, loved, and loved. For the imperfect tense, you take that verb's first principal part, so love, the present indicative. You find its correct present participle form, that ing form, so drop the silent E and you get loving, loving. You put the correct subject pronoun in front of it, along with, this is very important, along with the past tense helping verb of to be. So was or were. So for the first person singular, you get I was loving. Second person singular, you were loving. Third person singular, he, she, it was loving. First person plural, we were loving. Second person plural, ye were loving. And third person plural, they were loving. Remember, you could also substitute used to verb. So first person singular, I was loving. You could also say I used to love. Needs to show a continuous, a habitual action in the past, an action in the past that happened continuously. It was a habit. It was over and over again, or it happened for a long period of time. I was loving. It's not I loved. Snap of the fingers. The action's over. It's completed. It's done. That's a different tense. I was loving. I used to love. Happened for a long period of time. It was a habit in the past. So how to do this in Latin? We have conjugation of amo, amare, amavi, amatus in the imperfect tense. So first, you need to know the verb's principal parts. We have amo, amare, amavi, and amatus. For the imperfect tense, find the verb's present stem. You find the present stem, remember, from the present tense by taking the second principal part and chopping off the RE. We get the stem ama. That's the present stem, ama. Go ahead, ignore the first principal part. His only job was for the present tense. Go to the second principal part, get that present stem, ama, and write ama in all of the blanks. All of the blanks. Then we are adding the imperfect tense marker ba. It's almost equivalent to the helping verb was, were. Almost, but not quite. So ba. Then on that tense marker, that ba, so we have ama ba, the verb, the tense marker, then add the personal ending. We're going to exchange the O for M. So we have M, bomb, instead of bow, which would be kind of weird. So we have amabam, amabas, amabat, amabamus, amabatis, amabant. So amabam, amabas, amabat, amabamus, amabatis, amabant. I was loving. I used to love. Amabas, you were loving. You used to love. Amabat, he, she, it was loving. He, she, it used to love. So instead of English's usual word order, where we had the subject pronoun I, the helping verb was or were, and then the verb, the participial form loving, ing, Latin actually prefers it, from our view, backwards. We prefer the verb idea, the ama, the loving part, the tense marker ba, which is somewhat equivalent to our helping verb was, and then the personal ending tells us the person, first or second or third, and then the number, singular or plural, who's doing the action. Loving was I. I was loving. If it helps you think of it this way, go ahead and think of it this way. So the verbal idea comes first, then the tense marker, then the personal ending. So we get amabam. If it helps you think of the ending as bam, bas, bat, bamas, batis, bont, go right ahead. All right, watch the man work.
Was happening, or were, or used to happen. The imperfect tense is the present stem plus the tense marker ba plus the personal endings ost, mus, tis, und. Only in the first person singular we will use the alternate ending m, for the first person singular. Amo, amare, amavi, amatus. The present stem of a first conjugation verb is found by taking the RE off of the second principal part. The present stem of this verb is amma. Add the tense marker ba. Add the personal endings. S, t, mus, tis, und. Amabam. Amabas, amabat, mus, amabamus, tis, amabatis, und, amabant. I was loving, you were loving. He, she, it was loving. We were loving. Ye were loving. They were loving.
All right. The imperfect tense was, were, verbing. Let's move on to the future tense, which in Latin shows, wait for it, hold on, a future action that will or shall happen in the future. So here's how to do this in English, how to conjugate a verb in English's future tense. First, as always, know the verb's principal parts. I want to love, I loved, I have loved. We are using only the first principal part in this tense, so we want to put the correct subject pronoun in front of it, along with the helping verb will. We're not going to alter will at all. In fact, we're not going to alter the verb at all. The only thing we're changing is the subject pronoun. First person singular, I will love. Second person singular, you will love. Third person singular, he, she, it will love. The first person plural, we will love. The second person plural, ye will love. And the third person plural, they will love. You could also say, I shall love. So you can alternate with will with shall. So the future tense, what will happen in the future. In Latin, a little bit more complicated, not quite. So first off, know the verb's principal parts. So ammo, amare, amavi, amatus. And your job is to conjugate this verb in the future tense. First off, it's a first conjugation. You can tell by o, are, I, us. Then you find the verb's present stem. Go to the second principal part, amare. Chop off the re to get the present stem ama. And then write ama, that present stem, in all 6 of the blanks. Then go ahead and do this. Add bo, B-O, and bunt, B-U-N-T. Bo to the first person singular and bunt to the third person plural. So we get amabo in the first person singular and amabunt in the third person plural. For the rest of the forms, add the future tense marker bi, bi, not ba. Ba was for the imperfect. Bi, bi, that is for the future. So add bi to the second person singular, third person singular, first person plural, second person plural. And then we're going to add the personal endings, the s, t, mus, and tis to that. So all in all, we're going to end up with amabo, amabis, amabit, amabimus, amabitus, amabunt. I will love, I shall love. Second person singular, amabis, you will love, you shall love. Third person singular, amabit, he, she, it will or shall love. First person plural, amabimus, we shall love, we will love. Second person plural, amabitis, ye, y'all will or shall love. And third person plural, amabunt, they will, shall love. All right, man working again.
Will happen. Shall happen. The future tense is formed by taking the present stem, adding the tense marker bi for most forms, and the personal endings o, s, t, mus, tis, unt. Amo, amare, amavi, amatus. The present stem of a first conjugation verb is found by chopping the re off of the second principal part. The present stem of this verb is amma. Add the tense marker bi. Be careful. The first person singular and the third person plural are slightly different. For the first person singular, just write bow. Write the tense marker bi until the third person plural. Make sure you write you. B-U. Bow, B-U. Book. Now add personal endings. We already have the O, add the S, T, mus, tis, unt. Amabo, amabis, amabit, amabimus, amabitus, amabunt. I will love. You will love. He, she, it will love. We will love. Ye will love. They will love.
Alrighty, so the future tense. Let us take very important note that the forms of Latin's sum, esse, fui, futurus, to be, are irregular in the present tense and in the imperfect and the future tense. So let's pause right here and make sure we go over these forms. It's very important you know the verb to be. So we have sum, esse, fui, futurus. First person singular, sum, I am. Second person singular, s, you are or thou art. Third person singular, est, he, she, it is. We could also have existential est, there is. First person plural, sumus, we are. Second person plural, estis, ye are. And third person plural, sunt, they are. You could also say there are, existential sunt. Remember that sum acts as a linking verb, linking a nominative subject with a predicate nominative. For the imperfect, the forms are eram, eras, erat, eramus, eratis, erat. Compare with sum, es, est, sumus, estis, sunt. Slightly more regular. So if you know it's era, like it's ba, 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 the tense marker ba for the other verbs. We have era, st, mus, tis, unt. Eram, eras, erat, eramus, eratis, era. So I was, I used to be. Eras, you were, you used to be. Erat, he was, he used to be. Erat, there's also existential erat, so there was, erat, usually the first word in the sentence. Same thing with erant, there were, first word in the sentence, existential erant. The future goes like ero, eris, erit, erimus, eritis, erunt. So ero, eris, erit, erimus, eritis, erunt. Once again, there is existential erit and erunt, meaning there will be, erit, usually the first word in a sentence, and erunt, there will be, usually the first word in a sentence. So ero is I will be, eris, you will be, etc. All right, let's practice regular verbs. So once again, amo, amare, amavi, amatos. I want to love. I loved, I have loved. All right, the present tense. Present tense. First, for the present tense, for the first person singular, that's just the first principal part. That's his only job. He goes there. That's it. Then for the other blanks, we want to take the verb's second principal part, chop off the RE, what's left, ama, the verb's present stem, fill in for the rest of the blanks, and then add the good old personal endings. We already have the O, we need the S, the T, the mus, the tis, and the unt. I love, you love, he, she, it loves, we love, ye love, and they love. I am loving, I do love. Amas, you are loving, you do love. Amat, he, she, it is loving, he, she, it does love. Remember that Latin also has these translations built into the present tense. For Latin's imperfect tense, first know the principal parts, amo, amare, amavi, amatus. I want to love, I loved, I have loved. We want the present stem. Second principal part, ama, chop off the RE. Present stem is ama, fill in the blanks. Then we need the imperfect tense marker, ba, like the imperfect tense of sum is eram, a. We need ba, amaba. And then we need personal endings. Exchange the O that we normally have here with an M. Then we have S, T, mus, tis, unt. Amabam, amabas, amabat, amabamus, amabatis, amabant. I was loving. I used to love. You were loving. You used to love, etc. And then the future. Amo, amare, amavi, amatus. We want that present stem again. Go to the second principal part. Chop off the RE. Present stem is ama. Fill the blanks. For the first person singular, add that bo. For the third person plural, add that bunt. And then bi, bi. For the second, third singular, and then the first and second plural. And then add s, t, mus, tis. We already have the unt. Amabo, amabis, amabit, amabimus, amabitis, amabunt. Optime, very well done. Excellent job. So now you want to move on to exercise A, which is practicing conjugating first conjugation verbs in the present, the imperfect, and the future tense. Optime, valete omnes.